Hey there, you're watching Reading Between the Lines, and it is Pentecost Sunday. Maybe you saw the intro and was like, dude, Nathan is a very excitable person. That's a little scary. And I am. It's true. I only had one cup of coffee and maybe that's all I need. But it's Pentecost, man. This is the birthday of the church. I love birthdays. I love celebrations. I love any excuse to get together with people, have some food and have some drinks and have a good time. That's what this is. That's what Pentecost is. Also, this episode of Reading Between the Lines is brought to you by Kleenex, because everybody needs Kleenex sometimes. Okay, first reading in the gospel. They're both about Pentecost. They're both about the apostles being afraid, starting out being afraid, and then receiving the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and then going out and proclaiming the gospel, proclaiming the good news, talking about Jesus, right? So this is a theme that exists in our lives too. How many times are you afraid of something? How many times is that fear keeping you locked up in a certain place, in a certain situation in your life? That's what's going on with the apostles. And as always, Jesus doesn't wait for us to come to him. Jesus comes to us and is always knocking on our door. In this case, though, he didn't just knock on the door. He went through the wall, right? And at least in the gospel, this is what happened. He went through the wall and he just appeared. He showed up, right? And he knows that they're afraid. He acknowledges it and he says, peace. Don't be afraid. Be at peace. This is what he does with us. He comes to us wherever we're at. And if we let him, he gives us peace, right? Once we're calm, once we're at peace, again, if we're open to it, then he gives us the Spirit, just like he did with the apostles. And once he gives us the Spirit, then we can go out and do the final thing, which is the mission, right? He sent them on a mission to go out into the world, proclaiming the gospel, proclaiming the good news, and baptizing people in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. The mission is to reconcile people with God, right? That's it. That's the mission. Our mission as Catholics, as Christians, is to bring together God with the people that he created, because there's a rift, right? A lot of us don't know God. Even a lot of us Catholics don't really know God, because it's about a relationship. It's not about just the ritual. It's about the relationship, right? And so our mission is to help people know God again. So how do we do that? And that brings us to the second reading. The second reading is about the gifts of the Holy Spirit. It says that we are all one body, but we're many parts, right? So some of us might have the gift of listening, just listening, right? And people need that. People need to know that someone is listening to them, right? Some of us have the gift of being present, of being with other people, and just by that presence, people feel comforted. People know that you're there for them. Maybe you're reliable. Maybe you're really good at helping people when they need it. Maybe you're really good at talking, at speaking, at inspiring other people, at being charismatic and drawing people not only to you, but to God. Whatever your gift is, we're called to use those gifts together in our community, right? In community as a group, to bring people to God. Here's a little nugget or gem of truth for you. You're being called by God to the place where your greatest joy, and I'm going to add to that, where your greatest gift meets the world's greatest need. You're being called by God to the place where your greatest joy and gift meets the world's greatest need. That means there are a million things that the world needs. There's a million different ways to serve people, to show up. And there's billions of people that can do that. But you have something that nobody else has. And I don't know what it is necessarily, but that's the trick. That's the job, to figure out what you have. What's the gift that God gave you that you can do that nobody else can do in the same way? Once you figure that out, then it's a matter of figuring out, where can I use that gift? Where can I put that tool to work that I do amazingly well because God gave me that gift? That's our purpose. That makes me get up in the morning. What's the thing that I do, and where can that be used so that I can serve other people, so I can serve God? And we talk about this idea of mission, of bringing people to God. And I just want to ask you, have you ever had a friend who you knew, like when you guys were kids, maybe you've known them for years, right? And when you first met them, they were one way. They were really positive. They were really happy. They were really talkative. They were really, they loved sharing their ideas or just talking to you about stuff. You guys were really good friends. And now, maybe a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, whatever it is, now they're just different. You guys don't talk anymore. They don't show up to the things that you go to. They don't want to let you in on their life anymore. Something is going on with that person. Something has kind of shut them down and shut them off. And you've thought to yourself, man, what happened to them? I just want my friend back. I just want back that person who I could talk to, who I could share myself with, and they're gone. I don't know what happened to them. That's what's going on with the whole world. And that's what we're called to do. We're called to be Jesus in whatever way we are made to be Jesus, with whatever gifts we're given, and go out in the world and be like, hey, wake up. You were made this way, and for whatever reason, no judgment, but now you're over here. And I just want to lovingly help you back to who you are, to where you were, back into relationship with yourself, with other people, with God, right? And I think we all know somebody like that, somebody that just got lost along the way. Maybe that's us. Maybe we were like that. And that's what Pentecost is about. Pentecost is about overcoming our fears, letting Jesus overcome our fears, and then opening ourselves up to the Spirit, to the Holy Spirit, being filled with that Spirit, and being filled with all the love and joy and peace that comes with the Holy Spirit. And then with that, we can go out and fulfill our mission. Here's an interesting little fact. There's all these chemicals and connections that are going on in our brain. The stuff that's happening in your brain when you are afraid is opposite from the stuff that's happening in your brain when you're filled with joy, right? So whatever chemicals are up when you're afraid, that means that these joyful chemicals are down. And if you're filled with joy, that means these afraid chemicals or these fear chemicals are down and the joy chemicals are up. And they can never be up at the same time or down at the same time. So if you're afraid, that means that you cannot be filled with joy. And you're filled with joy, that means you cannot be afraid. So Pentecost is about allowing Jesus to move us from our fear to our deepest joy, and then going out and sharing that joy with the whole world. That's why I love Pentecost. That's why I get really excited about this day and this weekend. We just confirmed, or we just witnessed the confirmation of a number of teens today, this morning at our church. So congratulations if you're one of those teens, or congratulations if you're the family member of one of those teens. That's awesome. That's what confirmation's about. moving from fear to joy, getting to know your purpose, your gift, the thing that makes you unique, the thing that God gave you that he didn't give to anyone else. And then starting the process of learning how to use that gift, how to use that uniqueness in a world that has forgotten God and forgotten itself, so that we can bring the world and God back together again. Happy Pentecost. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you.
We hope you like this video. Please click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified every time we post something new for you. God bless.